So the other day, I was rewatching this movie called War Games. It came out in 1983, and it stars Matthew Broderick. And I remember I watched it in the 80s, and it was a pretty good movie. And when I saw that it was on Amazon Prime, I thought, oh, let me just watch it again to kind of refresh my memory. And in a nutshell, what the movie is about, it's this very smart kid who accidentally hacks into a government computer and starts playing what he thinks is an innocent computer game, a war game. And what he inadvertently did is he started the process of World War III between the United States and the Soviet Union. Back then, that's what it was known, Russia. And as you can imagine, things get really intense. And during the process of trying to figure out how to stop this process, they start discussing the issue of mutually assured destruction. That is basically when two superpowers that are nuclear powers decide to go to war against each other and use their worst weapons against each other, nobody wins. Everybody gets destroyed in the process. And when I heard about that, I don't know why, but the thought came to my mind, Kim and Kanye. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dee, and I'm gonna jump right into it. So Kim and Kanye, I've been thinking a lot about these two lately because, Kanye just recently went through another one of his manic episodes, and he just, like a cicada, every certain period of time, he crawls out of the hole where he's been hiding for however many months or weeks and starts making noise, just like a cicada. That's Kanye. He's back. He starts ranting about the same thing over and over again. And it's usually about the kids, right? His kids that he needs to protect, and he needs to do all these things for his kids. And he starts bringing up the same thing. And we know the drill with Kanye, right? So he's been talking about this. And if you watch the new season of the Kardashians on Hulu, Kim pretty much had kind of sent a warning shot to Kanye saying, I am not going to sit back and allow this man to attack my family like he's done in the past. She apologized to her family and she said, this will never happen again. I'm going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And again, she's been pretty quiet this time, just like she always is. But I wonder if something is different now. I wonder if now that she's no longer married to him, if she feels more emboldened. Only time will tell what will happen. But I think these two people, these two very famous, very wealthy people who have pretty much climbed to the top of the celebrity food chain, have enough power to sink each other. And how would they do this? Well, they both rely on their image to maintain their status, to continue to create and put out art or products that the masses will flock to. And if they can each one destroy the other's image to the point where they cannot recover, they will reach this mutually assured destruction that they were talking about in the movie War Games. And at least when it comes to the Kardashians, image is everything. The Kardashians pretty much entered the collective human awareness by presenting themselves as this chaotic, fun family. When I did a video talking about Robin from Sister Wives, I briefly mentioned about how the Kardashians, the show The Kardashians, was really modeled after the Brady Bunch. And that's really how they kind of burst into the scenes as this chaotic, funny family that they're very engaging and they're funny. But at the end of the day, at the end of each episode, they remind us that family is everything and how much they love each other and how united they are. Well, as the family has grown and they have evolved into just focusing on the girls. Poor Rob. Rob was dropped a long time ago. But once the focus was on the girls who are now women, the focus went from showing them as a chaotic, funny family into this family of the perfect women. They are the most physically perfect women who have never had any plastic surgery. The most beautiful, the most in shape, the most disciplined with their diet. You know how they made those salads so famous, the salads that they had in the plastic containers, and they shake it, and that's all we really see them eating. And it's like, wow, that's why they have that nice body. And then they have their trainers who come and train them at their home gyms, and they're so disciplined, so they have the perfect bodies, the perfect health. They also model themselves as the perfect lovers, the perfect partners to the men that they attract to themselves. They are always showing themselves in the kitchen like they're cooking. Do you remember a few years ago when Khloe got into this whole thing, when she was pretending that for Thanksgiving she had baked all these goodies, and how she had spent the whole day in the kitchen slaving over making these pies and these cakes? And people quickly recognized that these were from a very famous, well-known LA bakery, Sweet Lady Jane. And people were just dragging her like, you didn't bake those are Sweet Lady Jane. And her only response was, you guys are so shady, but she never denied it. But that's part of the whole allure of the Kardashians. They're the perfect homemakers. They decorate their homes to perfection. They're always in the kitchen cooking for their men, and they're the perfect little wifey. And they also present themselves as the perfect mothers. The women who are always surrounded with their kids. They love their children. They are there for them, to the point where they always keep the father of their children around. Even if the relationship is not working, even if things aren't going great, they always want to co-parent wonderfully, because they're those type of women. They're not like those other baby mamas who fight with their baby daddies and they keep their kids away from them. Oh, no. The Kardashians are the perfect partners and mothers and baby mamas, and they're the perfect wifey, right? Well, what if we dismantle all these myths? Then what's there? What's left? What would be left for anybody to look up to admire, to aspire to, if the Kardashians aren't these perfect women that every man wants, and any man who gets them is the luckiest man in the world because he has the perfect woman and he's joined the perfect family? What if we can dismantle, not we, but what if Kanye succeeds in dismantling that image? Not only will he bring down Kim, who is pretty much the face of the Kardashian family, but he will bring down the entire house of Kards, the house of Kardashian, the house that has built at least 2 billionaires. But it has successfully marketed themselves as this family that can do no wrong, that you should want to be them. So you should buy their makeup, and you should wear the clothes that they sell, and you should do the wellness practices that they practice, and you should just watch their show, and you should do everything that they're doing, that they're putting out there. Drink their tequila so you can be one of them, so you too can be the perfect woman and attract yourself a high value man that's going to give you everything laid at your feet because you deserve it. Well, Kanye has already started to dismantle this perfect image. And even before Kanye started dismantling this image, just from pure observation, I could see that there were some things that just weren't as perfect as they were presenting it to be. For example, the love story between Kim and Kanye. This love story for the ages, that Kanye fell in love with Kim the moment he met her. It was at like a video shoot or something of that sort, and he fell in love with her. But he had to keep his distance because Kim, she was taken. She was with Reggie Bush at the time. And, Kanye, being the respectful gentleman that he is, he stayed away. And he just waited and waited for his right moment to claim his prize. And then after things didn't work out with Reggie, Kim had a few brief relationships, but then she ended up with Chris Humphries, and they ended up getting married. And the story goes that when Kanye saw Kim and Kris getting married, he was devastated, but he said, you know what, I'm gonna wait this out. I'm gonna let her make her mistakes, and I'm gonna wait for her for the right moment, and then I'm gonna swoop in and show her that I am the man that she was destined to be with. Of course, the marriage to Kris Humphries didn't last too long, and Kanye, who had been in a relationship with Amber Rose, that relationship ended, and they were finally single at the same time, and they could finally be together, and Kanye came in and whisked her to Paris, and they fell in love, and eventually they conceived their miracle child. Because if you remember, if you used to watch the Keeping Up with the Kardashians show, Kim had been told that her fertility wasn't that good and that she would have to freeze her eggs because things weren't going so well, fertility-wise for her. But she miraculously gets pregnant with North, and then they get engaged, and then they get married, and it's this beautiful story. But there were cracks in the story. For example, was North really a miracle baby? I decided to go back and watch the shows around the time that Kim and Kanye had just started dating. And it turns out that it was around that time, actually it was season 7 of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kim starts dating Kanye, and around that exact same time, she decides, both her and Khloe go to a fertility doctor to kind of check and see how their fertility is going. And Kim specifically, both of them are told that, it's not really going so well down there. And Kim is told that also her fertility is not doing very well, and she might want to freeze her eggs because at this time she's in her 30s, and time is not so kind to women after 26 or 27 when it comes to fertility. And so she begins to take the steps to assure her fertility. And then as I was rewatching the show, I saw this scene between Kim and Kris. They're in the elevator somewhere, and they're talking about how, her fertility is not doing so well because she's been on birth control all these years. I think she said that her mom put her on birth control at the age of 14 when she started having sex. Interesting. So she's been on birth control nonstop since that time. And so the doctor says to her that has really suppressed her ovulation and her fertility. And then in that scene in the elevator, Kris looks at Kim and says, well, I think what you need to do is you need to go off birth control, and you need to give your system a rest, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And Kim kind of smiles and says, well, I have to talk to my boyfriend about that.
I think you should get off of birth control. And I think you should just let your body rest and find its own rhythm. Your body has a natural rhythm, and you won't know what that is until you're off of it. I'll talk to my boyfriend about that.
And then cut to after that, Kim has decided, yes, she's going to start taking fertility drugs to enhance her ovulation, to produce more eggs, so she can extract those eggs and freeze them for when the time is right to get pregnant. The reason why I thought that was so interesting is that when Kanye, when he ran for president in 2020, he gives this really embarrassing story about how when Kim told him that she was pregnant with North, she was crying and she was scared because she didn't, this was a shock to her and it was a shock to him, and they weren't expecting this. And so they discussed ending that pregnancy. But when I look back now at the time when Kim and Kanye started dating, and they weren't dating for that long before she got pregnant. I don't think they had been together for a full year before she got pregnant. And it was around that time that Kim not only stopped taking birth control, because when you're taking fertility enhancing drugs to increase your ovulation, you of course are not going to continue on birth control. That's going to suppress your ovulation. So she got off birth control, and she was also taking fertility enhancing drugs. Around this time that you are in this new relationship, you're very sexually active, your boyfriend is clearly not using a condom with you, because Kanye also embarrassingly in this unhinged speech that he gave, he said, at first when she called me crying and said that she had just come back from the doctor, my first thought was, Oh my goodness, I hope I didn't give her AIDS. Excuse me? Maybe he was joking, but maybe he wasn't. Because at that speech, Kanye said that the reason why he did not want to have a kid with Kim is because he was living his, in his own words, typical rapper lifestyle of having lots of women around. And so that was the first time when we got the indication that, oh, so this wasn't this love story that Kanye waited for Kim and he waited it out, and as soon as he could finally get with her, he whisked her up and wifed her up right away, and they were in this exclusive, loving, romantic relationship. No, apparently Kim was just part of the rotation. She was just one of many women he was sleeping around with, unprotected. And then he gets this news, this shocking news, that Kim got pregnant by accident. But wasn't she off birth control and taking ovulation enhancing drugs? Did she not talk to her boyfriend like she told Chris in the elevator that day? Was this something that she neglected to mention to Kanye, that she was no longer taking birth control? And here's the thing. The episode aired in, when was it? When did it air? Let me see. The episode aired in the latter part of 2012, which is when she got pregnant. So I'm wondering, did Kim air this after the fact? After her and Kanye had already accidentally conceived this baby, and is it at this point that she let the world know that she was struggling with her fertility and that she was off birth control? But did Kanye know before? And let me tell you something, the Kardashians are notorious for filming scenes after the fact to make it seem as if the conversations happened before the fact. And so I don't know, I just find it very strange that Kanye would have been shocked that his girlfriend, who was off birth control and taking fertility enhancing drugs, accidentally got pregnant. And if he wasn't ready to be a father, if he wasn't ready to be in a serious relationship at the time, why didn't he take precautions? I'm just asking questions. I could be completely wrong. Maybe that's not how it happened. Maybe she did have that conversation with Kanye and they decided to, take the risk and it just happened. But I'm just saying, I'm just asking questions. But that was the first crack in this love story, this love story for the ages. Another thing that I found that was very non-love story-like about them is that I remember that when Kim was pregnant, when she was heavily pregnant, Caitlyn Jenner, who at the time was going by Bruce, did an interview, and they were asking her, oh, so what do you think about, are you excited about being a grandparent again? Kim is pregnant, and how are things between her and Kanye? And the answer was, Kanye hasn't been around. To be honest with you, I can't even lie. Kanye just hasn't been around. He's been away all this time. And I remember also that during the time that Kim was heavily pregnant, the storyline in Keeping Up with the Kardashians is that her and Kanye had bought this house where they were going to move in together and have a family there. And that while the house was being remodeled, Kim and Kanye moved in with Chris and her spouse. That they were going to be in the house. They were all supposed to be living together while this house was being constructed. But during that time, we saw no signs of Kanye. There were no signs that Kanye was anywhere around. So are we really supposed to believe that Kanye and Kim were living at Chris's house? It doesn't seem like that was the case. So when you look at these little signs, we can see that this whole thing about the ideal relationship and the ideal marriage and the whole thing was a fairy tale, it really wasn't. It seems like Kanye was roped into this serious relationship by an unforeseen pregnancy. And while the pregnancy was ongoing because Kanye talks about how he and Kim had discussed about ending that pregnancy. But it was Kim who ultimately called him one night and said, I don't want to end this. I want to have the baby. And Kanye said, okay, yeah, let's have this baby. But eventually they did get married in this beautiful wedding. And what was interesting is that somebody who was at the wedding, who was actually at the reception, talked about how Kanye at the reception gave this long, rambling speech about how the Kardashians are a brand and he is a brand and these two brands are coming together and we're gonna dominate the world. At his wedding, he's talking about branding and fame and money and how they're gonna take over the world. This isn't a marriage. This sounds like a merger, like a business merger. So when you look at these little things, you can see that Kanye all along has been dropping hints that this was not this ideal fairy tale love story that goes perfectly with the Kardashian branding, that they are the perfect women and that any man is lucky to have them. Kanye is already starting to dismantle this slowly but surely. But they get married, they have 3 more kids, and they continue to present this image of this united front, this perfect family. But about 2 years ago, the cracks really start to show. 2.5 years ago, when Kanye really starts ranting and talking about how he's been trying to divorce his wife for 2 years because he doesn't trust her. When he's bringing up things like the adult tape that Kim made and the photo shoot for Playboy, and how he's gonna make sure that his daughters are never going to do this, and my daughter, I put it on God that my daughter will never be on Playboy, and my daughters are never gonna be in this situation, and it's embarrassing because throughout these rants, it's becoming very clear to us that Kanye doesn't really respect Kim. He never really respected her. He knew about the tape. I'm sure he saw the tape many times when it came out with Kim and Ray J. But he married her anyhow. And my thing is, I'm the last person who's going to judge a person's sexual choices. I think people should do whatever they feel comfortable doing as long as it is consensual. Knock yourself out. But it's very disturbing that Kanye went ahead and married somebody he doesn't respect. Somebody who he doesn't want his daughters to grow up to be. Somebody he doesn't think is a good example to little girls out there. It's embarrassing to Kim and the family, but it is painful to know that somebody's going to look at you as less than because of some of the sexual choices you have made. Look at how he talked about Amber Rose when he went on the Breakfast Club and he joked that before he could even touch Kim, he had to take 30 showers after being with Amber Rose. Talked about her like a dog, like a piece of trash. And Kim really thought that it was going to be different with her, that he looked down on Amber because she used to be a sex worker, a stripper, but he was going to overlook Kim's past. No, it was a bad, I was thinking about something. You know, there's a reason why Maya Angelou said, when you meet someone and they start showing you who they are, believe them. There's a reason why she said that, because we have a tendency when we like somebody of thinking that, yeah, he's showing me all these red flags, but it's different with me. It's gonna be different with me. I remember one ex-boyfriend of mine, when we were just courting, when we were at the very beginning of our relationship, we were just friends and we were talking and we liked each other and we would just share each other's lives, life stories and everything. And he specifically told me, he said, and I hope he's not watching, but if he is, you know what you said. But he said to me, when I break up with girls, I play with their heads. I play with their minds. I play mind games with them. And he was giving me examples of how he would, play mind games with girls in the past. And I was sitting there listening to him, laughing with him, because he was saying it in a very joking manner. And I was laughing. You know why I was laughing? Because I was thinking, oh, it's going to be different with me. He knows that I am different. He knows that I'm the kind of girl that he's been looking for. And the reason why he feels so comfortable sharing this ugly side of his past is because, number one, he trusts me. And number two, he would never tell me if he was going to do the same thing to me. And what do I tell you? He did the same thing to me, the exact same thing to me. After we broke up, he was playing games, telling me that, no, we're still together, but we're not together, but we're still together, or we're not together. And every time I would try to move on, he would rope me in. And the same thing he described from the very beginning. And I didn't believe it would happen to me. So when probably Kim saw Kanye talking trash about Amber Rose and who else, ex-girlfriend of his, and assuring her, she really thought that it was going to be different with her. But it never is, boo-boo. It never is. So when they show you, please believe them. Okay? That was my little my little tangent. But one of the things that Kanye kind of quickly dispelled right away is this image of the Kardashians of being the perfect partners to raise children with. They're not like the other baby mamas that are mean to their baby daddies and they keep their kids from them, and no, these are the perfect women. And no matter what's going on in the relationship, and even if they're not in the relationship anymore, they still want to maintain that loving co-parenting relationship where the daddies come to the birthday parties and they stand together and they invite them on the family trips because we all love each other, because this is a different kind of family. We're different kind of women. We're not like those other baby mamas. We're very nice. And they have this thing that's another thing, that they want to have all their children with the same baby daddy, because they want all the children to be full siblings and you know what, I was thinking about this. If I were Kylie or Kendall, I would feel some type of way. If I'm watching my siblings having children with the same baby father, no matter how much of a cheater he is, no matter how abusive, how much of a mess, how troubled he is, they have all their children with the same father. They want all their children to have the same last name, to have the same father. If I was Kylie and Kendall, I would be like, okay, well, we're your half siblings. Damn, tell us how you really feel about us. Like, are we really looked at as the stepkids? Are we really the outsiders that you're so desperate to have all your kids with the same dad, even if he's a mess? It's interesting. It's interesting because if Kris Jenner had done such a great job of co-parenting with Robert Kardashian, may he rest in peace, and with her ex-spouse who now goes by Caitlyn, if this really was the Brady Bunch, this loving family where they're so loving and so united that they don't know when one set of kids ends and the other starts, because they're all fully siblings in their minds, there's no division. Why are the Kardashian Jenners so obsessed with, it has to be with the same man, it has to be with the same man? Did the family really not achieve that cohesive, we're all one family together kind of a thing? Because their actions don't show that. Their actions don't show that they truly believe that if something doesn't work out with the first father of my first child, I can still find a loving man who will raise my children, all of them, as if they're his own, and he will be there, and he'll be a wonderful father to all my children, and it'll be a wonderful thing. If that were the case, wouldn't they be more willing to do an arrangement like that? The fact that they are so doggedly determined that, no, I'm not gonna be like my mom who has 2 sets of children from 2 different baby daddies. I wonder, is this fantasy, this myth of the united Kardashian family, is it really true? Or are they cracks in that scenario that we haven't seen? Interesting. I'm just asking questions here. So the fact now that Kanye is complaining about Kim not letting him have a say-so in where the kids go to school and not letting him go to the birthday party, it all contributes to dismantling this perfect image of the Kardashians being the perfect baby mamas. Because Kanye's fans are determined. They completely go by everything he says. If he says that they're keeping him from his kids, they believe him. When he wasn't invited to I believe it was Chicago's birthday party, and he went on live and was talking about, I feel like they've taken my child from me and they've kidnapped my child, and yes, it was too much. But to his fans, it really felt like, oh my gosh, the Kardashians are so mean. They're so nasty. Here go these baby mamas, playing games with a man's kids. Dismantling the facade, the pristine myth of the Kardashians being the perfect fill in the blank. Kanye has also poked holes at this story that the Kardashians are the perfect moms that are always there with their kids. Kanye says it very clearly that the nannies are the ones doing all the heavy lifting. They're the ones who spend 90% of the time with the kids. So this whole image of the Kardashians as the ultimate consummate mothers is being dismantled by what he says about them. And you have to ask yourself, the Kardashians who have spent, let me take that back. Kris Jenner, who has spent so much time and so much effort and so much money crafting this perfect image of her daughters, how long is she going to put up with this, I don't know, this slander? I'm sure that's how she's going to present it. This slander against her family, because he really is just blasting her in the process of disparaging her daughter. So what are the Kardashians going to do? What are they going to do to stop the destruction of their brand, the thing that has put them on the map, the thing that has kept them in the A-list? What are they going to do? Because trust me, they're not going to just sit down and watch this happen. I believe that what they're going to do is they're going to dig at his mental illness. They are going to dig and push all the buttons they can do to make him implode. During Kim's brief relationship with Pete Davidson, she was pretty much flaunting him out there in such a blatant way to kind of fan the flames in Kanye, to kind of get him to react. Unfortunately for her, poor Pete, he just couldn't handle the heat. Pete has been very open about his mental health struggles, and Kanye really bullied this man. Really bullied this man, and went after somebody that he knew was mentally vulnerable, that he's struggled with contemplating ending his life. And the fact that Kanye has shown no compassion, it just goes to show. A lot of people say, oh, we must excuse Kanye's behavior because he has mental illness. To quote Pete, mental illness doesn't give you an excuse to be a bad person. It doesn't give you an excuse to be a bully. And I believe that Kanye is a bully. I really do. I think he likes soft targets. For example, he's obsessed with Hillary Clinton, and I'm not some Hillary stan, but the way he goes after Hillary and her policies and how Hillary incarcerated men. Bill, you mean Bill Clinton, the man who was president, the man with the power of the pen who passed those laws? Kanye has never given any smoke to Bill Clinton, the powerful man who he actually should be going after. Oh no, he doesn't touch Bill, but it's all about Hillary. And even with this administration, again, I'm never going to get into politics in this channel. Politics is just too toxic to get into these days, and I just don't want to go there. But he obviously is not a fan of this administration, but he has never said anything about Joe Biden. It's always Kamala. He's always attacking Kamala. Oh, Kamala, we voted, all these people voted for her and we haven't seen Kamala. Kamala is the vice president. What is she supposed to do? She's a glorified sidekick. Her role is basically to be a wing woman. That's what, the vice president has very little power. I don't know if you know this, Kanye. But again, she's a soft target because she's not a powerful man. And Kanye, he leaves certain people alone, but he attacks soft targets. But going back to what we're talking about, I do believe that in a sense, Kanye was right when he said that Pete was used to antagonize Kanye. I believe that Kim really, with her connections in the media, she was trying to get Kanye to lose his mind and do something crazy. Remember when Pete put the tattoos of Kim's children on his neck? Nobody would have noticed that unless they get some kind of call from somebody in the Kardashian clan. Hey, why don't you zoom in on his neck and see the initials there? And it's the kids. He tattooed Kim's initials and the kids. He wants to be their daddy. I think that the media blew that up because they were told to look for the tattoos. And they were hoping that Kanye would say something. And at the time, Kanye didn't say anything. Now that, everything is over, he's been attacking them. But I do believe that Kim has tried. She had hoped to use her relationship with Pete to cause Kanye to implode. It didn't work because Pete, because of his mental issues and his emotional issues, and people are saying that it was Kim who ended things with Pete. I believe that it was, all the signs indicate that it was really Pete who said to her, you know what, I need to distance myself. This is not good for me. This is not good for my mental state. I mean, the fact that Kim was the one who was constantly posting him and talking about him and going all and doing the most. And she was the one who flew to Australia to go see him. And he never made an effort to really reciprocate and to maybe, on his weekends off or whenever time he had off, to go on a quick flight or fly her in. So it seems to me that he was really struggling with the bullying from Kanye and from his fans. And he decided, you know what, this is just not good for me. I care about you. I care about the kids. And I think that that's how, her plan to really antagonize Kanye didn't work. But rest assured, as we speak, Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, and I don't know who else in the family, the publicists, the PR people, they are thinking of a new strategy because they are not going to allow everything that they have worked for to go downhill. Kris Jenner, she has a reputation to maintain. And the fact that he's basically accusing Kris of being a trafficker, that he worries about what's going to happen to his children in that household, in that family, that is not a good reputation that Kris Jenner is going to continue to do all her power dealings. She's not going to be able to continue doing that if that is the reputation that is put out there. So rest assured, they are working on something to take Kanye down. Kanye just got through having this battle with Adidas. And once things kind of calmed down, what did Kim do? She posted herself decked out in Adidas. They are poking. They are doing their part in saying, if you take us down, we are going to take you down. Mutually assured destruction. It's gonna get ugly. Right now, there's a lull. There's kind of a quiet. But I assure you, the Kardashians are working on a plan for next time when, like a cicada, the time appointed happens. He gets into that season of being in a manic state and he starts attacking. They're gonna come with something else. And the thing about Kanye has his soft spot. Kanye is not as confident as he portrays himself to be. This cocky Kanye, this is really a reaction to a deep insecurity that he has deep inside. When he did this interview, what is it called, the show, Drink Champs, with Nori, he was there and he was talking. And I remember there was a little comment that he made that made me think, I see the flashes of insecurity coming from Kanye. And he was basically talking about how he's never felt like he was gangsta enough or hard or tough enough for the people around him. And even he felt like Jay-Z or the city of Chicago wished that he was a better representative. He was more gangster. He was tougher. He even mentioned, he said, I even think like Kim would have preferred to have been with an athlete instead of me. So you see that, you know, Kanye has a lot of bravado and he does a lot of talking, but I believe that it's just a result of deep-seated insecurities that he has. I think that the Kardashians, they know enough about him to know where his vulnerable spots are. And I think they're gonna attack him for that. And it's just going to result in both sides destroying themselves. That's what I think. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm looking too hard into this? Or do you really believe that the Kardashians and Kanye are going to use all their resources and go nuclear? I don't know. It's going to be an interesting ride. Leave a comment if you agree with me or you disagree with me. Please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see me talk about these different topics. And I want to say, we reached 100 subscribers. We did it. Just 2 weeks ago, we were stuck at 25, I think it was. And my last couple of videos really brought a lot of you in. Thank you for coming. Welcome. We're still a small family, but I hope that you feel comfortable and that I hope that you can enjoy all the different videos that I'm going to be doing. Those of you who were here from the very beginning, some of you came because I talked about Invisalign. Tomorrow I'm going to the dentist, and hopefully this will be finally the final stretch and I won't have to be wearing these elastics anymore. Because I'm tired. So stick around and let's talk about that. And I want to also do more commentary. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.